Hello. This is Mustardketchupmayo 1000, and we're back with another installment of UFC fight picks and predictions. Fight night, technically, since this one is a fight night. Fight night today, or I guess tomorrow, whenever you're watching this, is gonna be RoboCup or Gregory Rodrigues versus Anthony Hernandez, or Hernandez versus Rodrigues, one of the two. But first, let's start off with how we did last week, which was UFC 330. Did very mid, 6 out of 12. I was very wrong about the Ian Machado Gary fight. Abdul Malik, very questionable. Um, Joel Alvarez is a weight bully, and Oral by, yeah. So, anyways, let's start off with the curtain jerk for this event at the Apex, or no, in Sacramento. Actually, it's UFC Sacramento. It's gonna be Chanel Dyer versus Elise Reed. I'm taking Chanel Dyer. I have KO. I kind of want to take decision, but I feel like Dyer, or I feel like Reed only loses during submissions, and don't get me wrong, Dyer or Reed only loses only loses if it's a finish. Dyer is really good at head, like her boxing is very crisp, her striking is very crisp. I think it's gonna be a round 1 KO, I would say. I was gonna say 2, but probably round 1. Knowing how Reed fights, she fights very eh. So yeah, taking Chanel Dyer by KO round 1. Next fight, Jackson McVeigh versus Wes Schultz. Spider-Man meme, but this is gonna be a bottom of the barrel type of fight. Kind of what we were expecting from this, but I'm taking Jackson McVeigh by KO round 1. I was gonna take submission, but I think his KO is a little bit better. His submissions tend to be very eh, or I guess his, like, whenever he gets on the ground, it's very eh. Like, don't get me wrong, his like BJJ, it seems pretty good, but it just isn't to the degree that Wes Schultz's submission is, and I feel like he gets on the ground, Wes Schultz is submitting him. Jackson McVeigh, stay on your feet, please. So yeah, taking McVeigh, KO round 1. Bet it's not going the distance, that's for sure. Next fight, Cage Young versus Stan Dorsenville. Interesting name. As you can see, Dorsenville is a very accomplished I would say BJJ guy. He seems pretty good in his BJJ, but I'm gonna take Gage Jung by decision. Gage Jung is really good. Very underrated in my opinion. He has a lot of potential, and I feel like for this fight, well, it's two guys who seem very good potentially, or at least for the Dorsenville. I'm not too sure about him to that degree, but he looks potentially good, in my opinion, just based off of his record. But Gage Jung looks very good, very good. That's what makes me want to take him. He's also only lost to Quinlan Southkill, which is not a terrible loss, and it was by decision on Dana White Contender Series. He lost to Evan Elder by decision, but it was on short notice. He's good, in my opinion. He's a decisionator, but he's good. So, taking Gage Jung. A little bit more accomplished and has a little bit more of a better resume. So yeah. Next fight, Mauricio Barbosa versus Ryan Coos. Taking Mauricio Barbosa round 1 KO. This dude is crazy good. I remember seeing him on the Dana White Contender Series. I saw the Dennis Bazooka KO. I'm not expecting anything less from this. Expecting something very similar. KO round 1 for sure on that one. Next fight, Nasrat Hakparas versus Chris Padilla. Taking Chris Padilla by KO. I think KO round 1, in my opinion. I think Chris Padilla is really good. I don't think Hakparas is really good. I think he's a kind of like a guy that just barely cuts through every single time. I don't think he's that good. Like, his last 2 wins were by split decision. Esteban Rio picks being one, which looks good. Jared Gordon being the other, like, I guess. But yeah, taking Chris Padilla. He's a lot better. He's a lot more. He should be already fighting for a ranking, in my opinion. I don't know why he's still fighting outside the rankings. But yeah, I'm taking Chris Padilla by KO round 1. Hax Parat might be a little bit scared since he's coming off the KO. I'm assuming he hasn't been KO'd before. Let me double check real quick, because I don't want to say that and not be true. He's only been KO'd once, one other time, and that was against Drew Dober. So that's kind of understandable. So yeah, I'm taking Chris Padilla. I want to say Chris Padilla has Drew Dober's strength, or I guess Kunisau killed strength, but he is a hard hitter, and his damage just carry on very fast. So yeah. Next fight, Shamil Gaziev versus Kennedy Nzechukwu. This one's kind of 50-50 in my opinion. I want to take Kennedy Nzechukwu. I want to take Shamil Gaziev. I feel like Gaziev might potentially win. I think he actually probably would win, now that I think about it more. But I'm taking Nzechukwu just because he might be a little bit more imposing, and I feel like Gaziev kind of gives up whenever he starts struggling against somebody who's actually forward pressing, and Kennedy to some degree is a little bit of forward pressure. So yeah, taking Nzechukwu. It could go either way in my opinion. I wouldn't be upset if either one wins. Next fight, Jamal Emmers versus Leron Douglas. Taking Douglas KO round 1. This is this is kind of just setting up for him, a setup fight for him. I feel bad for Emmers. This fight shouldn't have even been booked for Emmers. I think Douglas should be. Actually, I feel like he should be a little bit stepped up in my opinion. But regardless, they're giving him that fight. That's the fight that they're making. So I'm taking Douglas KO round 1. Nothing much else to say about that one. Next fight, Anthony Wint versus Terrence Chapman. Taking Anthony Wint KO round 1. There's a lot of people I've seen who are going back and forth saying that he will get a decision. I don't really see why he would, or Anthony Wint goes like to the decision, or at least like KO round 2. I don't see why. I feel like Anthony Wint could definitely KO round 1. So yeah. There's not too much else to say for that one. They literally brought in Terrence Chapman for the highlight reel. Sadly, feel bad for him, but can't do much. Next fight, Carly Judice versus Gisela Chavez. Taking Judice KO round 2. She's pretty good. Judice is pretty good. Chavez, on the other hand, is also very good. Don't get me wrong, but she just goes and split decisions. She just doesn't. She's just not to that level, in my opinion. I feel like Carly Judice is a lot better, and to that level. So that's why I'm taking her by KO round 2. There's not much else to say about that one. I would not be surprised if Chavez got like somehow just grinded to a decision, but I don't think that cuts it to beat Judice, in my opinion. Next fight, Markel Maderos versus Mason Jones. Taking Mason Jones by decision. Neither guy has really been finished, from my understanding. Yeah, Mason Jones has only 2 losses are by decision. Marderos only losses by decision. This could go either way. I think, yes, I personally do think Mason Jones is going to win, but I don't know what the odds are as of right now, but on Tapology it's showing 340 for Mason Jones, so 3-1 odds. Kind of a little bit wide. I think it should be 200, maybe like 220, like 180 to 220. Maderos is a sneaky dog. I wouldn't take him, in my opinion. I'm gonna be sticking with Mason Jones, but I feel like there's some value there if you really care about that. But yeah, this is going the distance for sure, in my opinion. Next fight, Rainer de Ritter versus Roman Dolidze. Taking de Ritter by KO round 2. Dolidze is not doing anything. He's gonna, Rainer de Ritter is gonna grab him, tight clinch him, hit him in the knee him in the gut. It traps. That's usually how it goes. That's usually how it goes. So that's what I'm expecting to happen. So yeah, next fight, Sergey Spivak versus Vitor Petrino. Taking submission round 2 for Vitor Petrino. The only reason I would say KO, but Petrino, ever since he's moved up, he's been very hesitant about KOs, or at least standing. Thomas Peterson was the only KO he was able to pull off, and that's because it's Thomas Pedersen. No disrespect to Thomas Pedersen, but come on. And then Steven Absalon, he was also standing and banging, but Steven Absalon would not go down. He was a zombie. Um, so yeah, he looked really good as well. Austin Lane, he was able to submit, but that's because it's Austin Lane. But yeah, I don't know. Spivak, they're gonna go back and forth. I would say, like, pretty decisively. It's gonna be a lot of fighting, a lot of clinching. But I think Petrino just pulls it off by getting him taken down and submitting him round 2. Something similar to the Martin Tybura type of situation, but this time Petrino wins. But yeah, next fight, Anthony Hernandez versus Gregory Rodrigues. This was one where I wouldn't be upset if I got wrong, but I feel like seeing how Fluffy's weaknesses has been shown multiple times, and we know what his weakness is, and it's literally to the body, similar to Daniel Cormier. Robocop is definitely going to be able to capitalize off of that. I can see it being Rodrigues KO round 1. If not round 1, round 2. If it goes to round 2, I would be a little bit wary. I would say maybe like Anthony Hernandez. I think Anthony Hernandez would end up like just getting away with it somehow or some way. So yeah, I'm taking Anthony Hernandez. Or sorry, I'm taking Gregory Rodrigues KO round 1. If it gets past round 2, or I guess to round 3. If it makes it to round 3, I'd be a little concerned because Gregory Rodrigues' tank is really, really short. But yeah, I don't know. Either way, either fighter, losing or winning, they look very good. It'd be interesting for RoboCop to get up there somehow, but you know, regardless, it's gonna be interesting. So yeah, Gregory Rodrigues by KO on 1. But yeah, thank you for watching. That's all I have for today. Let's have a good day tomorrow for these fights, and yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.